the mirror you never expected. Do you remember any time that living with a cat slowly changes the way you see yourself? Not because your cat teaches lessons in any deliberate way. Not only they settle you down and mention about life's secret meanings, but because somehow, over time, they start reflecting parts of you back to yourself. Most people think they are observing their cats, watching their habits, discover their personalities, trying to see what makes them happy, nervous, playful, or lovely. However, something fascinating often happens along the way. The longer you live with a cat, the more you begin realizing things about yourself. Your patience, your kindness, your habits, your emotional mind, even the way you handle difficult days. Cats are surprisingly sensitive to the emotional atmosphere around them. They often respond differently when humans are calm, stressed, confident, anxious, or relaxed. Research believes that cats can recognize differences in human feelings and behavior, often adjusting their own behavior in response. But today's story is not really about feline psychology. It's about something much more personal. It's about the quiet reflections loving cats offer every single day. Reflections that many people almost never notice, until one day they suddenly see. And once they see them, they can never quite disregard them again. Cats reflect the spiritual energy we bring home. Cats don't care about our job titles. They don't care how much money we have. They don't care whether the world thinks we're successful. However, they often react strongly to something else. The emotional energy we carry into the room. Think about a difficult day. Maybe work was exhausting. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe your thoughts are racing before you've even taken your shoes off. Your cat may not know the reason, but they often notice the change. The tighter movements, the shorter patience, the heavier footsteps, the different tone of voice. Sometimes a normally social cat becomes slightly cautious. Sometimes they simply observe. Sometimes they stay close and present. Not because they understand every detail, but because they notice that something is unusual. And in that moment, they quietly reveal something. They show us the emotional weather we are bringing into the home. Many cat owners only realize how tense they are after seeing their cat react to it. The cat becomes a mirror, not reflecting our appearance, reflecting our atmosphere. Cats reflect patience. Cat cannot be rushed into trust. This may be one of the most important lessons they ever teach. Humans often want immediate results, immediate understanding, immediate love, immediate certainty. Cats rarely operate this way. They move at the speed of safety, at the speed of comfort, at the speed of trust. When a shy cat hides under a bed for days or weeks, something interesting happens. The situation becomes less about the cat and more about us. Can we remain patient? Can we stop demanding progress? Can we allow another living being to feel ready on their own timeline? Many loving cat owners discover that their greatest growth happens while waiting. Waiting for the first approach, the first slow blink, the first lap visit, the first moment of complete relaxation. The cat reflects our ability to be patient without controlling. And that is not always easy. Cats reflect how safe we make others feel. There is something remarkable about a cat choosing to sleep deeply beside you. A sleeping cat is incredibly vulnerable. In the wild, vulnerability can be dangerous. So when a cat stretches out, exposes their belly, relaxes their muscles, and falls into deep sleep near a person, trust has already been built. Not through words, not through promises, through consistency, through hundreds of tiny interactions. The beautiful part is that this reflection often extends beyond the cat. People who create safety for animals frequently create safety for humans too. Friends feel comfortable around them. Children trust them. Other animals relax around them. Cats have a way of revealing how much emotional safety we quietly provide. Not because they judge us, because they respond honestly. And honesty is one of their greatest gifts. Cats reflect the attention we often forget to give ourselves. Cats are experts at simple moments. Sunlight, warm blankets, fresh and clean air from an open window, the familiar positive sound of a favorite person nearby. They can spend 20 minutes observing a bird, 30 minutes sitting in a patch of sunlight, an entire afternoon simply being present. Humans often struggle with this. We move from one task to another, notification to notification, problem to problem, future worry to financial concerns. Then we glance across the room, and there is the cat, completely absorbed in a moment that costs absolutely nothing. Sometimes the reflection becomes uncomfortable, not because the cat is doing anything wrong, but because they remind us how disconnected we've become from simple experiences. The cat is not teaching mindfulness intentionally. They are simply living, and somehow their presence exposes how rarely we allow ourselves to do the same. Their role seems to remind us to normals of life. Cats reflect the love we give. One of the strangest things about cats is how often affection returns in unexpected ways. You feed them well. They greet you at the door every day. You respect their boundaries and limits. They begin seeking your company. You speak gently. They become more relaxed around your voice. You spend years building this trust. They spend years choosing you. The relationship is rarely immediate. It accumulates, tiny moment after tiny moment. Many owners describe realizing one day that their cat follows them everywhere, sleeps beside them every night, waits outside the bathroom, appears whenever they sit down, and then a surprising thought arrives. When did this happen? The answer is usually simple. Slowly. The affection being reflected back was built over thousands of ordinary moments. Cats often reflect the love we consistently give, not the love we occasionally perform. Cats are constant psychologists. Perhaps one reason cats touch people so deeply is because they see us in ways that feel unusually uncomplicated. They do not care if we're having a perfect day, or a terrible one. They do not care whether we succeeded or failed, whether we looked impressive, whether we said the perfect thing. Many cats simply want us to be familiar, predictable, safe, present. For people who spend much of life trying to meet expectations, this can be surprisingly healing. A cat may walk onto your lap when you feel your worst, curl beside you when you're exhausted, sit quietly next to you during difficult moments. Not because they understand every detail, but because your presence is enough. And perhaps that reflects something many humans need to hear, that sometimes being present matters more than being perfect. Cats reflect our emotional habits. There is a reason some people suddenly notice changes in their cat when life becomes stressful. Cats often react to patterns, repeated tension, repeated calmness, repeated routines. Research and observation suggest that cats can become affected by the emotional environments they live within, sometimes appearing to mirror levels of calmness or stress around them. This creates an interesting opportunity, because the cat may reveal habits we've stopped noticing ourselves. If we're rushing constantly, if we're frequently irritated, if we're unusually anxious, the cat sometimes becomes the first visible sign, not because they're judging, simply because they're responding. And that response can encourage us to look inward, to ask questions, to notice patterns, to make changes. Sometimes the cat becomes a mirror that helps us grow, without ever intending to. The reflection few people talk about. Eventually something happens in many long-term cat relationships. The reflections begin working both ways. You learn your cat learns you. You recognize their moods. They recognize yours. You know when they're worried. They know when you're different. The relationship becomes less about ownership and more about familiarity. Two living beings sharing years of life together. Many owners eventually discover that the cat knows their routines almost as well as they do. Their favorite chair, their bedtime, their morning habits, their emotional rhythms. Cats become remarkable observers of human life. And perhaps that's why losing a beloved cat feels so profound. Because they carried a reflection of who we were during a chapter of our lives. They witnessed countless ordinary moments nobody else saw. The quiet mornings, The difficult nights, the routines, the changes, the growth, the years.